Hi, it's Steve with Coin Stuff I Like, bringing you another video in the Peace Dollar series. This is part 8, and this one is about the gap in Peace Dollar production by the U.S. Mint between 1929 and 1933. Now, you know that the U.S. Mint had a Peace Dollar from 1921 to 1928. Then there's that gap, and then 1934, 1935. Now, that gap is created by two events. One is the Pittman Act ended in 1928, which ended the legal requirement to mint silver dollars. And then, of course, the Great Depression in 1929, and of course, the depths of the Depression prevented the minting of peace dollars. There's no need until they started in 1934. So this leaves a nice gap, and we're going to talk about the fantasy of filling that gap and how Dan Carr and Moonlight Mint accomplished that. Before that, though, this is part of a series, and I've done prior videos. I'll put the playlist for this Peace Dollar series in the description of this video. This time, though, part 8 is going to be covering this gap that exists in the U.S. Mint production that Dan Carr and the Moonlight Mint fulfilled the fantasy of filling those dates. And he did an outstanding job. I mean, they're just beautiful pieces, 5 beauties right here. And we're going to talk about those and show a little video of those as well. But first, a little background on these. They're all overstruck on genuine U.S. Mint peace dollars that were struck between 1922 and 1935. And then they also are all high relief obverse, high relief reverse. Now, just a little bit of sidetrack here, going over the different obverse designs. This one parallels the 1921 high relief peace dollar, and it has a high relief of 0.030 inches, which is pretty significant. They dropped it because they had trouble striking them. The 1921s, they dropped that relief on the obverse down to 0.016 inches in 1922 and continued that for the rest of the series through 1935. And now the Mint is producing high relief peace dollars once again, but I'm not aware of the actual measurement of that relief, but they call it high relief, of course. So all of these 5 fantasy pieces will mimic this particular obverse, and then the reverse also mimics the 1921 reverse, which was high relief. Now, the original galvanos and plasters that were made had the equivalent of a 0.030 inch relief on the reverse, but the Mint chose to use half of that in their quote-unquote high relief 1921 peace dollar. They lowered that to 0.014 inches for the rest of the production at the U.S. Mint until the current ones, the most modern, starting in 2021, where they resumed the high relief reverse. Now, the other differences here too is before the Mint went to production, in the pre-production designs, there was a broken sword design, and the Mint eliminated that, sort of last minute eliminated it, and it never went into the actual peace dollar production. But Dan Carr and the Moonlight Mint produced broken sword pieces that cover 1917 through 1921, and also there's a 1945 broken sword uh, uh, reverse. These are all high relief. This one here, the broken sword is removed, and so now it's more aligned with the 1921. Notice also there's 4 arrows here below 1 in the high relief 1921, and there's only 3 arrows below in the low relief design that was used from 22 to 35. Now, there in 35, there's the exception where there is a error or variety with a fourth error, fourth ray. See that video to hear me discuss that particular one. In any case, that is the background on these 5 beautiful fantasy coins that run from 29 to 31. So let's take a look at them individually. Starting with the 1929S. Now, one of the things he did in this gap between 29 and 33, he alternated S mint and D mint. You can see this one has the S mint down here in the typical location. The 4 arrows with a high relief reverse. So this one here, the 29S, he produced these in April of 2024, and the mintage was 139 pieces. So very low mintage. This one happened to make a MS70, and let's take a look at some video of this particular coin. Beautiful piece, beautiful piece. And so now, next, let's look at that 30D, the 1930D. You can see the mint mark down here, the typical location, same design features. This one of these, the Fantasy Gap, 29 through 33, this is the lowest mintage of his these fantasy pieces from the Moonlight Mint at 132. This one made MS69, and let's take a look at that one on video. Another beautiful piece. So now let's go and look at the 1931S. S mint down here in the typical location, same design features. This one, actually, this was the first of the pieces that he produced to fill that fantasy gap. And this was done in August of 2019. The rest were all done in 2022, as I mentioned. So August of 2019, 285 of these were made. This one made an MS69. Let's take a look at some video. Yet another beautiful piece. Let's move on to the 1932D. Again, you can see that D mint mark in the typical location down here. This one, I said just previously, I said that they were the others were made in April of 2022. The April 2024 were when these other four. The first one was August of 2019. That was a 31S, and the other four were all made in April of 2024. This one had a mintage of 137, still very low mintage. This one made MS70s. Beautiful coin. Let's take a look at some video. Yeah, what did I tell you? That was a beautiful coin. So let's look at the last one in this fantasy gap between 29 and 33. This one being the 1933S. Like the other four, April 2024 was when they were produced at the Moonlight Mint. This one had a mintage of 144. This one made MS70. Let's take a little look at video of that one as well. A fifth beauty. So let's wrap this up and just say that, Dan Carr, Moonlight Mint, thank you for filling in this gap in the U.S. Mint production with these 5 beautiful fantasy pieces, 29 through 33. And, now the gap is filled, and I'm very thankful. Beautiful coins, high grade, low mintage. What more can you ask for? So thank you for watching. Remember, buy stuff you like, but be smart about what you buy. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.